today's new right, I guess you would say, is basically Trumpism sort of defined, like the intellectual underpinnings of what Trumpism is, right? He came to office in 2016. He had a lot of different policy positions than his predecessors. They were more pro-war. He was more anti-war. They were more pro-immigration, or at least lukewarm on it. He was very, very, very anti-immigration.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by White House reporter Haisten Willis. Haisten, it's been a busy week at the White House. We've had a lot of back and forth going on about President Trump's tariffs. Granted, things can always change, but what's the latest right now?
Yeah, so the latest is that most of the tariffs are off, or at least they're significantly reduced. Yeah. The reciprocal tariffs, right, which are really calculated based on the trade deficit and then cutting that and using a sort of complicated formula. That was on for about a week officially and is now off. But really, actually, a lot of tariffs are still in place. I think if Trump had kind of started from zero and announced what we have now, people would be freaking out anyway. It's only because he went so far announcing such large tariffs on so much of the world and then pulled back somewhat that it seems like a relief. We still have a 10% tariff for virtually every country in the world, 145% tariff on China. We have auto tariffs. I think I'm missing a few other tariffs that he's put in place. He's put in steel and aluminum. He's put those in place, and those actually remain. So tariffs are actually much higher now than Trump when he got into office, but they're lower than they would have been, certainly.
So tariffs have traditionally, or at least traditions dating back 40, 50 years, not been a Republican position in general. All the parties had a consensus in favor of free trade, but there's a faction of the conservative movement that's a little more sympathetic to things like the Trump tariffs, called the New Right. And you've written about the New Right. What is the New Right?
I have. Yeah, so the New Right is sort of the Trump right, basically. And of course, the term, new and right, it's a pretty short, set of words there that has meant different things in different time periods. I think even like Barry Goldwater's campaign in '68 was considered the New Right.
Yeah, in the 70s, the New Right were all of these conservative activists who, now, most of them are not even alive anymore, but that was the New Right 50 years ago.
Yeah. So today's new right, I guess you would say, is basically Trumpism sort of defined, like the intellectual underpinnings of what Trumpism is, right? He came to office in 2016. He had a lot of different policy positions than his predecessors. They were more pro-war. He was more anti-war. They were more pro-immigration, or at least lukewarm on it. He was very, very, very anti-immigration. So there's different policy stances that he has. So it was okay, he won. What is this? What is it he actually represents? And so a lot of different intellectual leaders in the decades since the 2015 and 16 election have tried to sort of shape what that actually is. So there's different leaders that have talked about this. J.D. Vance is really kind of one of them, very much an intellectual guy. Yale Law School graduate who tries to sort of explain in much more, intellectual, softer terms what Trump means when he says something, right? And there are even think tanks that do this now. One of J.D. Vance's associates is a guy named Orrin Cass, who runs a think tank called American Compass, that tries to kind of talk about what the Trumpian economy actually is. Tariffs are certainly a big part of that. Something else that the pre-Trump GOP would not have supported by and large is tariffs. He, of course, is very, very big in tariffs, and his followers like tariffs as well. So that's kind of what the New Right is. It's sort of Trumpism defined.
So a lot of these institutions were pretty new during Trump's first term. Are they playing a bigger role in the second one? Yeah,
they are. Trump's first term, from a historical perspective, is very interesting. He, of course, won the election, shocked everybody. A lot of people didn't think he had any chance of winning right up until he actually won. Republicans, I think, were shocked, especially people who had been around a long time. So his first term was sort of this weird mesh of things. I mean, he didn't even know much about Washington, how Washington works when he got elected. He said he's only been here a few times before he entered the White House. Didn't know about the inner workings of things. So his first term cabinet included a lot of older GOP types. He kind of warred with his own cabinet or with his own administration for much of his first term. Now, of course, he had 4 years out to sort of rebuild things, and he has a cabinet and an administration now that's much more aligned with his actual views. Trump views are really the Republicans' party views at this point.
Something old, something new.
That's right.
Thank you, Haisten.
All right.
You can read Haisten and the rest of our full team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.